Welcome to the Co-Host Bros Podcast, where we break down everything short-term rentals, entrepreneurship, and building a profitable hospitality business. Whether you're a host, investor, or property manager, we share real strategies, real insights, and real experiences to help you scale smarter and grow faster. Let's dive in.
All right, what's going on, everybody? It's Austin Spitzenberger, and I'm back with another episode of the Co-Host Bros podcast. Matt can't make it today, but we have a very special guest, Emanuele Pani. Emanuele, what's up, dude? How you doing?
Awesome, man. Thank you for having me on. We're talking off air. I actually did a little mishap last time when Matt was going to be on as well. I forgot about this show. So first of all, thank you for having me back. I apologize for that happening. And you know what's funny, man? 6 years into doing this, it still happens, right? So it's just the humanity of life, you know. There's nothing we can do. So sometimes, you know.
Oh, absolutely, man. And for the listeners that don't know, Emanuele's one of the hosts on STR Secrets. I think that it's paved the way. I've been listening to it for 5 years, and I absolutely love the podcast. But it brings me to one thing, and I wanted to say it because I remember it so bad from the previous episodes. I wanted to say I'm here with my main man, Emanuele Pani. What's going on, E? Right? Because that's how Mike always introduced you. But I'm like, that's trademark. I can't use that lingo. But I love it, man. I've been listening to y'all's podcast for at least 5 years. It paved the way for me in my short-term rental experience. So, man, I'm just so grateful to have you on here and have you pour back into our show, dude.
Yeah, Matt, we appreciate it. Yeah, I can't believe it's been that long. Now I actually host it with Mike Riley instead. It's Mike Sjogren is working on some new things, and it's humbling, brother. Like it's I love it, and it's been such a labor of love for me. As is STR Secret, the actual mastermind, right? So we have a big mission. Our mission is to help 1 million people reach financial freedom, and for me, the other side of that is financial and mental freedom as well, right? Because I would argue that one, they go hand in hand, and so often in this country, especially and around the world too, we choose to go after the financial freedom and yet are not at peace with ourselves, right? And so I think the peace aspect makes the financial freedom journey a lot more enjoyable. And so that's my mission within the STR Secrets mission, right? Like our mission is to help 1 million people. My mission is to help 1 million people reach financial freedom and also mental and spiritual freedom to enjoy this experience that we have being here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'd say your role in Secrets is kind of maybe like a little more geared towards the mindset side of things and helping people kind of understand maybe deeper meaning, what their purpose is, what kind of life they want to build and stuff like that.
100%, man. Because after all these years, what Mike and I have realized, and what I get to be very blessed to do, is help people rewrite what their self-image is. Because again, we teach the mechanics like there's nobody else in the business. And yet what we've noticed, right, is why do some people make massive changes and some people don't? And yet the coaches are the same, the content is the same, the online course is the same. So how does that happen? And what we realize is like, dude, you are and will you continue to be what you think about? And so how do we upgrade that? Because, dude, if you still don't see yourself as the person that can have the life that you're going after, it's always going to stay a couple steps ahead.
So in the STR Secrets, it's there's a huge mindset component of it, I'm sure. So like you guys try and establish that first before you even talk about doing business, right? Or like building a brand or whatever, because you have to build that. The way I see it is you have to build that around who you want to become first.
So that's an interesting question, man, because the reality is that what you want at the beginning is the mechanicals. So we'll give you the mechanicals because we understand that that's what you're looking for. So it's kind of the doctor, like listening to you and then giving you what he knows you need. So that's kind of how we look at it. So we'll give you the mechanicals because we understand at the beginning, we always go into the how, right? Like how am I going to do this? Then once we show you the how, we got to give you the faith for you to go after it. And that's why, Austin, probably you know, and a lot of your listeners know, the hardest deal is always the first one. And then you may be trying for months to get your first one, then you get your first one, and all of a sudden, hallelujah, right? Something clicks. And you sign up 3 or 4. But then you get kind of stuck again in the like 5 to 10 range. Because just like on the 0 to 1 range, you start thinking, well, can I really do this? Like, am I doing this? You start having some issues, right? Time becomes more of a problem because, managing 1 listing versus managing 5 versus managing 10. Right? So you get to grow as a leader. You get to grow as a business owner. And then your mindset reminds that of an operator, right? And so until your mindset elevates to that of a CEO, then that's a whole battle. But a lot of us are not comfortable with the concept of being a CEO. Or at least we don't think of ourselves as CEOs, right? All you're trying to do is like, dude, I just want to quit this W-2. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't care about anything else. Just how do I quit the W-2? Right? But then the hero's journey, right? Let's call it. It goes from like, okay, working part-time to quit the W-2. Then you make the money, you start working full-time, you're making the money. And then you're like, well, I'm not anymore free. And then it's like, okay, then you get to elevate to CEO. But each one of these pieces has a spiritual and mental component of growth to it. Because also, man, what happens is when you go full-time, you start being scared. You start telling yourself, well, if I grow too fast, if I grow wrong, what if I have to go back and get a job again? Like, what am I going to do? Like, what? I don't want to go back to a job. And so you create yourself this beautiful golden jail where you're like our entrepreneur and a CEO, and you're like, but you're not like you're a CEO of your own life. You don't have a team. And so you really bought yourself a job. And then that's where the mindset really comes in, right?
Yeah, I think that's definitely relatable. I think the first property, like if you're building a co-hosting business per se, the first property is like an identity crisis, right? Like are you a property manager? Like the first 1 to 3, and you've got and that's where like I have the mindset of like some people make the mistake of coming in and maybe they do it, but they think, oh well, I've got to have a $150,000 grossing property on my first one. It's got to have this kind of owner that doesn't bother me. It's got to have this, that, and the other. And for me personally, what worked is I just got started and I started getting some momentum and I just kept saying yes. And eventually I was able to build a big enough business, right? But you don't know what you don't know until you get started. So a lot of the hurdle is people put this, high dollar property amount or whatever. They put it primarily when really you should say yes just to figure out what it is that you want and then make the mistakes and learn as you go. So I think like having that identity crisis up front, and then you like get 1, 2, 3 properties, like, okay, now I have the confidence. Now I have the repetitions. I really am a property manager. I really do this. And I also agree with what you're saying because I built uh, myself essentially. I got out of my W-2, and as building my property management company, I was able to replace my income, right? But what I ended up doing was really creating a second job for myself. So I had to learn how to hire, put systems and processes in place, because even as you grow too, in the hospitality space, like quality tends to start slipping and you can't do everything yourself. So I completely agree with what you said. Like, and I've gone through that, and I learned from it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like everybody does, but to me, that's the funny part about like the American entrepreneur kind of dream. It feels like there was part 2 of this entrepreneur book that nobody got. So everybody's like, start the business, but the majority of the reason why small businesses fail is because they're small businesses run by people that have small concept of themselves. And I'm not saying like stupid people. I'm saying people that think small about their opportunity, their possibility, their role, and their impact. Because what I'm here to ask your audience, man, is like, who benefits by you guys playing small? Does your family benefit? Does your team benefit? Does your team's family benefit? Does your community benefit? And if you're like me, all those questions you went, no, 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 and no. And so by the reverse, I'm asking you, okay, who benefits by Austin pushing to become the greatest Austin he can possibly be? Do your kids benefit?
Oh, yeah.
Your wife?
Absolutely.
Your family? Your team? Their life? Your community? And the list goes on and on and on. Right? Because this is the thing, right? I think we talk about goals a lot. And for me, what a goal is a want that you actually want. And so the way a goal comes into your mind is you get an idea, and then your brain is like, ooh, I like that idea. I'm going to make that into a want. The problem is that most people go from idea to want, from want to idea, and back and forth without ever making it a goal. A goal becomes a want that you actually want. And I know you have a goal because a real goal comes with a real decision, and the real decision changes your behavior. So I can see if you have a goal, and you can see if you have a goal based on how you make decisions. So if you continue to make decisions the way you've always made them, that means that you don't have a goal yet. And then people set goals, and what is their main metric of seeing if a goal works or not? Is what am I getting? Like, am I getting stuff from this goal? And the truth is, the point of a goal is not to get. The point of a goal is to grow. That's all we're doing. And you're like, grow, what do you mean? It's like, yeah, growing the awareness of what you can do, what's possible for you. Because that's the real fun. Because if you think that being ambitious, so wanting things, makes you unique, makes you successful, makes you ambitious or driven, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that wanting things is the easiest fucking thing you can do. We are wanting machines. Like, from the moment you wake up every day, your mind wants things. Constantly. Hey, Austin, I want to get up. Austin, I want to go to the bathroom. Austin, I want coffee. Austin, I want more coffee. Right? Austin, now I need the bathroom again, right? So it's this constant flow. So the thing is, like, how do we make a goal a desire? And then how do we make the desire a burning obsession? Because I guarantee you and everybody listening that any and every time something has become an obsession for you, you got it. You hit it.
So for the people listening, how do you transition from it becoming a goal to it becoming an obsession? Because I think a lot of people write down goals for the year, for the quarter, whatever, just to write them down to check the box, right? Like, are they actually reviewing them regularly? What does it really mean to you? Did you just say you wanted this because somebody else said they wanted this? So how do you transfer that goal into where it's essentially your mission and you're living by it? Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, the biggest thing that has been true from that perspective is you got to add emotion to it. That is the largest water bottle I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know
I take
how much
it's
water
a
is in
gallon.
there, but like, it's a gallon. I don't know. Those
Yeah.
cameras change things, man. I thought you were drinking out of like a 5-6 gallon jug of water just now.
No, it's cool. I
But
I had somebody. I had who was it? Kyle Fugwa. I don't know how to say his last name. Anyways, was part of y'all's community, whatever. But he said the same thing. I took a drink of the water jug on there, and it was like closer to the camera too. And he was like, he said it looked like I was drinking out of a trash can. So I guess
Yeah.
that's probably what you saw too. He's like, dude, what are you drinking out of? It looks
100%.
like you're drinking out of a trash can. But anyways, yeah, I don't know, man. I'll pivot for a second. I'm doing 75 hard. And the one component I don't like about it is the picture every day. I've failed so many times, not by doing it, that just the forgetting the little details, right? So I failed by the picture on day like 30 something, 40 something, and it was just negligence. And it's something that I identify myself as somebody that doesn't pay attention to the little details, right? So it's the easiest thing in the whole thing, but I failed every time I failed was usually because of that. I don't really like the gallon water so much because it disrupts my sleep, so I end up peeing a lot during the night. But while we're on the mindset topic, it's like we just I had my wife and I had our first kid 2 months ago, and what really
Congrats.
irritated me personally was a lot of people project their views on what raising kids is going to be like based on their experience, and they don't mean it in a negative uh, way. That's their perception, and they think they're trying to help you. But a lot of things that was coming up for me personally was people telling me what I had to give up, like what my life would look like and how it's going to be so much different, as if I didn't have actual control over those things myself. So it frustrated me, like, oh, they're gonna take all your money. Oh, you're never gonna sleep again. Oh, you all that working out you do, Austin, you could say goodbye to that, man. And it's like, okay, well, the day he was born in the hospital, I was like, I'm just gonna start 75 hard so I can just keep going. And then it's that proof to myself that I am in control of my own destiny. And you know, personally, I enjoy building our property management company. It's great. It's been fun. I love the people I work with. I love our team, but that's a small percentage of my identity. Like these kind of talks are so much more. Like I really enjoy the personal development side of things. So, anyways, enough about me. But I just that's the reason for the trash can sized gallon bottle
Dude,
there.
I love it. And for me, that's such a reminder of one of the big concepts that I talk about a lot is your self-image will determine your desires and what you think is possible. Right. And so that to me just shows me that in your self-image, there is working out. I am the same way, right? Like people are like, oh, if I stop going to the gym, I skip a day, I won't go back. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm an athlete. Like if I skip a day, I skip a day, and then the next day I'm right back to it. But that's just part of my self-image, right? So going back to the conversations about goals and setting goals, it's a beautiful question because to me, at least this is my truth, the times I haven't been successful because I didn't add any feeling to it, no emotion to it. And so what gets you to change is emotionalizing what you want, what you choose for yourself. And so people just write things and don't add any emotion to it. That's the same reason why affirmations don't work. Because if you just say, I'm going to be rich, and you're just checking it off the list, you're not adding feeling to it. But the moment that you actually add the feeling to the goal, right? I'm going to be financially free. Why? Because so I can go to Italy in the summer and take my wife and my kid there, and I can see my daughter, right, or my son in the square. We're eating a ice cream, and it's amazing. And the sun is shining. Me and my wife are laughing. She's on the swing. That has a different grip than just saying, I want to be financially free. So it's like allow yourself to add the reason why, and then it's repetition on top. So the thing is, if you write it once a year and then you revisit it once a year, there's no repetition on top. And you will become what you think about. And most of your thoughts are repetitive in nature. So as you're changing your belief system about who you are as a person, dude, it's like a shower. You got to shower every day. And once you shower every day consistently, then you'll have a day that you're like, I don't feel like showering today. You cannot shower and you're not going to smell. But dude, you got to shower. And so to me, the goal setting is the easiest part. It's like starting the business. That's the easiest fucking part of this whole journey. And it's the stuff that people get lost in. Like, none of this thing mean anything until you continuously show up for yourself. And it's this obsession about like learning and growing and pushing. Like, your self-image should be under construction constantly. Because to me, what growth is not a linear thing. It's meant to, like, I'm meant to grow and multiply, right? Like, what does the Bible say? Go out and multiply. God didn't say go out and grow 2% linearly year after year for the rest of your life. But the moment, so going back to our earlier conversation, the moment you get the goal, the first goal, you start going into maintenance goal or sustaining goals. And sustaining goals don't do it, because they don't give you the spiritual component of it. Because at the end of the day, you're a spiritual being. And so any personal development, any real change has to have a spiritual component in nature. So you're like, oh yeah, you're talking about church and things. I'm like, no, I'm talking about the spirit. Like, you're a spiritual being. So I'm talking to the human being, not the human doing. And most times you talk to people, they tell you about their doing, right? It's like, oh, have you been? Well, this is what I've been doing, and this I'm doing. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm like, awesome. I ask, how have you been? Like, how has your being been? Most people don't know how to answer that question, because you don't know.
So I was like going back to what you're saying about goal setting. So let's say that somebody does it, probably 80, 90% of people write down the goal and do it that way. So like, is there any kind of practice that you could do if you're writing down these goals to implement daily to keep the emotional aspect of it high to translate into the results of getting your goal? Like you had mentioned, whatever, wherever you were in a country eating ice cream, smiling, happy, whatever, and that translated into your goal. So, um, like if for somebody listening that maybe has that issue, maybe what is something actionable they can do to kind of get that emotional aspect of it to just kind of you know what I mean?
Yeah. So we all see it, we all feel it in different ways. So one of the main things that I would tell you is understand who you are and what speaks to you. So some of you might be better at visualizing things. And visualizing, you're able to bring an emotional aspect of it. Some of you might be more inspired by hearing things. So write it out and record it and listen to it every day. Some of you get more emotionally attached to it by writing it. Then write it. So this is the thing with like the miracle mornings. I love that concept, and also it is my truth that you gotta find what works for you. You and I work in different ways. I love listening and I love visualizing. My mind is extremely active, so I can visualize and I'm like gone, right? I've also gotten certified as a hypnotist for that specific reason, right? Like, I have used self-hypnosis for myself for years to help me drop my suggestion into my subconscious mind. And so for me, I get myself in a state of self-hypnosis and then I listen to affirmation and scripts that I have, that I've read out to myself. And so I drop it into the subconscious mind. Some other people, you might want to like just write it. And it's always to do it in a place where you like understand that your life is happening to you regardless. So you have two ways of making decisions. Are you making it from your desires or your paradigm? What a paradigm is stored information, processing new information. So if you're not driving right now and you have a piece of paper in front of you, write on one side desire versus paradigm. And then underneath there, write decisions and results under that. And understand in that moment, if you make decisions out of your desires versus your paradigm, so the way you've always made them, then your decisions are going to change, your results are going to change. And over time, you'll have space is going to get created in the moment of which way are you going. Until you're aware of it, I guarantee you that you're going to keep going the same way. Paradigm. And that's why you keep making the same decisions and getting the same results. So until you learn to make decisions out of your desire and let your desire discipline your decision making, then nothing is going to change. So with a goal, it's also making the decision. Because if you continue to set goals without making decisions, nothing is going to change. Because it is my truth that change is easy once you make a decision. What we have as an epidemic in this country is we're shit at making decisions. Because why? Because we have so many that we can make. And we think that there is an easy fix, right? And I talked about this on a recent show that we did. There is 4 stages of learning. The first stage is you're unconsciously incompetent. And you probably experienced this. I've experienced this lots of times. You go do something, you think you're going to be great. And then you do it and you're like, oh my God, I am so bad. Like I started dancing salsa. I've loved dancing my whole life. I'm like, Austin, watch me. I'm going to be great at salsa. Dude, first lesson, I felt like an elephant in there, right? Wasn't graceful, wasn't thing, right? And then what happened? I became consciously incompetent. So you're well aware of how bad you are at doing something. The problem is that most of us quit at that stage. So we go with arrogance, thinking that we're going to be great. We experience it. We realize that we're not. And then we don't commit to getting better. Because the next stage is what? You become consciously competent. So you're like, hey, I'm not stepping on my feet as much as I was before. I'm getting a little bit better. And I can see the gap. Until you get then to the last stage of learning, which is you become unconsciously competent, which is what the tennis players call being in flow state, right? You're like, dude, how did you play like that? It's like, I don't know. And those are like the 10,000 hours. But dude, most people get lost at the beginning. So it's the same thing. As you're learning to switch your decision making from your desires versus your paradigm, you got to train that. Because it's abnormal to you. So it's the same thing, guys. Like when you start living through your goals, through what you desire, not what you think you can do. Because that's don't set goals based on what you know you can do. Because that is going back to the thing, it's linear growth. There's no quantum growth in that. There's no satisfaction in that either.
Yeah, that makes sense. So really kind of what it comes down to is once if you're trying something new, you're arrogant about it at first. You think you can do it, then you realize that you can't do it as good as you thought it would do, and when you reach the point where people quit because they've lost their confidence, right? So all that to be said, by continuously doing the repetitions and maintaining consistent and trying to do that, you can essentially reach this flow state, like you say, to where you have the confidence to continue to keep pushing forward. And I see that a lot in business where I think a lot of people say they're going to do something or they commit to something and, I made it like, a bunch of calls and I couldn't get any clients and stuff. And then they quit there. And I think you raise a good point of like, it just, and there's a time component of it too, right? Like, do you think there's also like, do you see in your coaching that a lot of people might be, we want things too quickly. We want things now and they're impatient. I mean, do you think that's part of the case? Because I think people they dramatize this thing in their head about this business and that they're going to do and they're going to build all this stuff and whatever, and then it doesn't happen as fast as they think it's going to happen, and then they end up defaulting on the plan.
100%. Because there's this assumption that quantum leaps are instant. Whereas my truth is that quantum leaps happen when you fall in love with the process, right? Day after day, right? Like, is your desire disciplining your decision making? Day after day, day after day, day after day, day after day. And all of a sudden, you close 3 people in a single day. And then what happens? It's your choice, right? Paradigm or desires. Which one is going to lead from there? Day after day, day after day, day after day. That's the problem. Most people are more comfortable with the certainty of the misery that they know than with the misery of uncertainty. Right? Like, hey, you can have anything you like as long as you learn to fall in love with doing the hard things, doing the things that most people don't want to do. Are you in? Yes, I am. Okay, cool. This is what you got to do next. What else you got? I'm like, this, do this. Are you willing? Most people aren't, man, and you know it. I know it. Because guys, talking about the thing is not doing the thing, right? There's a great video by some other guy that does a podcast. I don't remember his name, but it's like, unpopular opinion. Talking about the thing is not doing the thing. Writing about the thing is not doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the fucking thing. So if you're listening to this, you're like, it's May, end of May now, almost. This was going to be your year. This was going to be your moment, and it hasn't happened. Recommit. Burn the boats. And the problem, I think, honestly, is that most people are too comfortable. It is way easier for you to make a change when you have an emotional impact in your life. That is one of the things that I haven't yet figured out, right? Is how do I get people to make decisions from an emotional impact without an emotional impact happening?
What do you mean?
Like, for example, when Mike really grew the business is when Caden was sick. He was out of sick days, right? All the parents here, right? You're like, if your kid is sick, you'll figure some stuff out. So you're almost better off making a great life upgrade when you're in a worse position than in the middle. When life is comfortable, that's why it sounds cliche, but comfort kills, right? That's where it comes from. Because dude, it's you don't crave it bad enough. Because again, your desires and your paradigm is stronger than your desires. Because you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And so in your decision making, you'd never break through.
Yeah, and I don't think people can have the impact that they're gonna have if they think that they have another true purpose or to do something bigger and better. I'm not encouraging everyone to go out there and quit their job, right? But I think that there's a component of having that safety net of something else to fall back on. And I think you said burn the boats. I like that. So like there's that component of like the safety net of like I can fall if this fails, like you're already thinking if this fails, right? I can fall back or I still have my job. Whereas like I am humbly, I really think that the mindset to really make a difference is this has to be your only option. Because if you're already going into it thinking, well, if it fails, I can always go back to my job. It's like, no, like, I'm all in here. Right. So, but it's tough because you don't want to advise people to like put themselves in a bad financial situation. But also at the same time, when people are put under pressure back into a corner because of a bad financial situation, what do you think that forces them to do? Like, there's that component of like, is not a good lifestyle to live, but also there is a component of like when you put yourself in a corner, like when I quit my job, it forced me to figure this out. Right. And I like that feeling. I enjoy that. Like I'm like, cut the paycheck. Like I want to go out and like kill. Like I want to figure it out. Right. So I don't know. It's a tough balance. It's a tough balance. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah. So this is the truth for me, at least, right? Is that if your desire is actually strong enough and you're not willing to make the decision, the universe will make the decision for you. So many people, they've been talking about quitting their job, and not doing it, right? Because like, if that is really your desire, the universe will continuously give you opportunities. And then you miss them, and you miss them, and you miss them. And then the universe is like, oh my God, you're so dumb. Let me make it abundantly clear. and then you get fired. And then there you have that moment. Because again, dude, like, to be free, like, happiness comes from freedom, but freedom comes from courage. Happiness comes from freedom, and freedom comes from courage. Your life is determined by your courage. Courage, another word for courage, is faith. And I'm not talking about faith in something above, even though it's useful to have, right? Right? If you're not into that, it's having faith in yourself. And faith in yourself comes from understanding and study and experience. And so, dude, like, you want to quit it. You want to quit it, but you're not quitting it. If you've been talking about it for a little while and you have the runway to do it, make the decision and choose it. Because do it or not, there is no try, right? That's what Yoda used to say. Just fucking try thing, dude. Try is the middle. Just resist the middle.
Yeah, for sure, man. I love it. I wanna pivot into one thing. Like for our listeners that are here, maybe they're on the fence, they're building a co-hosting business, whatever the case may be. From your experience as like a mindset coach, what is one thing that you see common in people with that's maybe flawed with their mindset, or something our listeners can take away, something actionable that they can be like, hey, I can start implementing this tomorrow. But the main question is, what is the biggest mistake that you see with young entrepreneurs and their mindset?
Hmm. They're not replacing their self-image. And so, to give you an actionable thing, right, is write out your self-image. So what is that? Like, write out what awesome life is all about. Right? So if we were watching a movie, that'll be the script of your movie. Write it out. And not write out parts of it. Write out all of it. How do you dress? How do you live? How do you eat? How do you feel? What does your business look like? What does your family life look like? What do you drive? How do you go about life? How much do you give? All of those things. And then continuously affirm that as being your life. And become delusional with everything else. Because the biggest thing for me was also realizing that at the beginning, I wanted to share my ambitions with everybody. And what I learned is that ideas at the beginning are like babies. You've had a baby 2 months ago. Could any random person come to your house and touch your baby?
Did they?
Could they? Like, if I was randomly, like, if you saw somebody randomly knock to be like, hey, I heard you had a baby. Can I come see it?
Hell no.
Right? Dude,
Yeah.
there's some members of your family that maybe haven't seen your baby yet. Right? Because you're like, dude, easy, right? Wash your fucking hands. Don't touch the face, right? Like, stay away from this, do that. And yet, you have a business idea that's going to change your life, and you go communicate it to everybody. You tell the Uber driver, and the Uber driver is like, dude, like, no, like, that's dead. And you're like, oh, it's dead. It's like, dude, first of all, unless the person you're talking to has the life that you want, stop talking to them. If the people you talk to are the people that are in your life right now, they are there because they are in alignment with your paradigm. So as you're changing your paradigm, as you're changing your self-image, as you're changing your life, your point of support has to become you. And that's the other big thing that I had to learn the hard way. I'm an Italian immigrant kid. I overshare with my family, and my family has been overly involved with my life from the beginning. And also, if I need my family support to think that I can hit the goals that I choose for myself, the moment the support goes away, my spirit goes away with it. So, dude, You are the only thing that can create your life, and you are amazing at it because everything that is in your life right now, you created. That unfortunately means the shit too, right? And having extreme ownership of that aspect of it and understanding, surround yourself with the right people. So if your current environment is not supportive of your growth, don't communicate your ambitions to the people that are asleep, right? So if you think about the matrix, once you wake up, don't talk to the people that are asleep. You got to talk to the people that are awake. Because nobody's going to tell you that has been awake. It's going to tell you to go back to sleep. The problem is most people, dude, once you start waking up, what do? You communicate it to the people next to you. You're like, dude, we've been asleep. Wake up. And people are like, shh, go back to sleep. If you communicate that to me, I'm like, fuck, finally, welcome. You ready? Let's have some fun. That to me is the biggest issue that most young, especially young entrepreneurs have, man. It's hard.
Yeah. Until you found that circle that you're talking about, maybe the STR secret circle, or you found that family, that extended family, we'll call it. But I think that's something I learned early on is I stopped telling people certain things and I waited until I did them and it was evident
Mm-hmm.
it's done, because I think it opens up a door for criticism from people like, oh, I tried that. Oh, you're going to run out of money. Oh, that's too risky. Those kind of things. So I completely agree with you on that. That's a good nugget there is if you're going to communicate that kind of stuff, make sure it's with people that are filling up your cup, right? And you're surrounded by the right people. And family is going to be family. And I think what you have to learn is you have to be selective about those kind of conversations, right? Because if you start talking about things that they can't comprehend, or that's not the way they maybe envisioned the life for you to go down, like you just kind of keep it very surface level, right? So controlling the conversation is definitely something. I also like the that you bring up extreme ownership if you're talking about the book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who is it? Is it Jocko that wrote that book? Is that what you're talking about? Okay, yeah, that's an awesome book. I read it a couple years ago, but the concept is there, and I love
Yeah.
it. It's basically, for me to summarize that book, if you haven't read it, it's basically everything is essentially your fault, right? One way or another, it's your fault. Somebody burns you, you allowed that to happen. Why did you get so close to that person, and so on and so forth. But anyways, it's a great book. So I love. I'll probably have to go back and reread it, but yeah, I love that book as well. But I think those are all good points, man.
Yeah. And also is understanding that as you walk around, people don't care about you. Understand that you're a mirror. So the moment that you realize that you're a mirror for the other people, the moment you realize that you are a result of your thoughts and the people around you are a result of their own thoughts, and you stop taking everything so fucking personal, life is gonna get a lot easier. Like when you talk to somebody about something that they may want that you're going after, their response has nothing to do with you. You're just holding up the mirror in front of your mom, in front of your dad, and you're like, this is what I want to do. And the answer is going to be everything that they have to say to themselves about themselves, and you make it about you. And so that's what I was saying in the beginning. Your point of support, the center of your universe, can only be you. And the energy that flows in and out of the universe is undifferentiated. And what I mean by that is tomorrow, if your concept of yourself changes, the energy that flows into the universe is going to change. You're attracting what you believe. You're attracting what you think of yourself. So how do I change it? Change the thoughts. Change the way you think about yourself. Everything around.
How much does changing how much is changing your thoughts versus changing your circle and who you surround yourself with? I guess not necessarily which one's more important. I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to ask here. But like
So
I kind of
environment to
go
me,
go ahead.
yeah, environment, right? Like to me,
Yeah.
that conversation lies around environment. And the way that I describe environment is imagine you're a sponge, right? And imagine I have a swimming pool full of chlorine water. even if I take the sponge, right, and I tell the sponge, don't absorb the chlorine, don't absorb the chlorine, and then I drop it in the pool, and I leave it in the pool for 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 24, 36, 48 hours. It doesn't matter how many times I told it not to absorb the chlorine, it's going to absorb the chlorine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the only thing that you can do is, at the beginning especially, is you stay for less time. And then you make sure you go home and you wash off the chlorine. And then you stay for less time until you feel strong enough that you don't have to go inside the pool. You can just kind of wash the pool from the outside.
Find another pool, right?
And then you start being like, okay, you know what? I'm going to build my own pool at home. And then life is different.
So I was full transparency. I was chat GPT. I've listened to your podcast for a while now, but I was chat GPTing some things before our call, just in case, just give me some
Who
nuggets of anything
doesn't
I need to.
now, right? Like who
Huh?
if you're not doing that before any meeting or call, now what are you doing with yourself?
2 points. We'll get into that question. We'll get into the AI stuff, but let's say
Yeah.
like so what I learned about you was like, and I don't remember hearing this on episode. I've listened to the STR Secrets for a long time. I mean, like 5 years, like pretty much. But
Mhm.
maybe you said it, and maybe it never stuck with me. But is the pool reference in relation to you having a pool job?
No, so the pool reference, no. It's just I was a maintenance guy. So I started my
I got it
beginning in
here.
real estate was that of a maintenance guy at an apartment complex.
Yeah, it says your story of starting out. It gave me a question to ask, which I haven't even used any of this, just kind of backup stuff. Your story of starting as a pool boy to now owning a massive SDR portfolio is wild. That's what my chat GPT said. So I was like, just do a deep dive on just like give me some background stuff. So chat GPT, apparently there's something out there that they're scraping the internet and
Yeah. And I'm a pool boy. I mean, I used to clean the pool, but like no, pool boy in my many qualifications of life has never been one of my titles.
yeah,
But
it's
I
weird.
was a
It's
maintenance
literally
guy. Yeah, I was a maintenance guy at an apartment complex. That's how I started.
somebody's out there putting some stuff on Reddit or something. They're pulling. No, I'm just kidding. But let's talk about the AI thing, man. Like, have you like I like AI for business. That's all cool and dandy. But I like where this conversation's at, right? So like, are you leveraging AI anyway? Because I'm using it multiple ways in my life, and maybe you could
hmm
share. And I'd like to share mine too. I've never opened it up on a podcast because this is kind of our first mindset related one. Are you using AI in any specific way that from a mindset perspective and becoming the best
Mm.
version of yourself and utilizing it anyway into your daily life to kind of help you become the best version of you?
Yeah, I love that question. So I have two school of thoughts. For the people that are AI resistant, I encourage them to get into it. For the people that are AI friendly, I encourage you to unplug from it. And what I mean by that is this, right? I gave somebody, I know she's extremely AI friendly, and I'm like, hey, put together a list of wants. And to her, I was like, they cannot be from ChatGPT, right? Because for me, there's the concept of like educo, which is the Latin root word of education, which means to draw out from within. Part of mindset to me is self-discovery and awareness. To discover and become self-aware, you have to go inside. So AI can't help you with that. Where AI can help you is in queuing questions. So like, hey, chat, ask me questions about myself to better determine and write a new self-image script. Or like, hey, like there is a tool called a self-image script. Give me some examples based on all the things that you know about me as to what do you think my self-image is. Hey, help me create a vision board of this. And I want my life to be this, this, and this. Create it for me. 100%. But it just don't, I mean, you can, but I personally use it to optimize my thoughts versus telling me what to think about. And then when I do tell it to, I'd like to optimize my thoughts is like, okay, these are the people that I'm learning from, right? I'd read Neville Goddard, I read Marcus Aurelius, I read Thomas Stoward, I read Napoleon Hill, I study Tony Robbins, right? And it's like, okay, now take all of their knowledge and let's have a chat. Let's have a conversation. But again, a lot of people, because I do a lot of the calls for people wanting to join Secrets, and one of my big questions is always like, what do you want? What is your goal? And people are like, I want to do 20K a month. I'm like, cool. Why? Why? Because like most people tell you the pillars, but they have no mission, no vision. And so going back to our concept of learning, if you don't have a mission, you don't have a vision, the moment the idea and the learning is not what you thought you wanted, you're going to backtrack and look for another idea. And that's why 10 years in, a lot of real estate investors are going to identify with this. 10 years ago was flips, and then was wholesaling, and then it was multifamily, and now it's STRs, and now it's boutique hotels, and people are back to flipping, right? It's because they're all great idea, but the ROI of an idea is zero until you do something with it. Knowledge is only potential power. It's nothing else. And so if the AI can help you execute, yes. And also, you don't need it. So if you're somebody that's prone to get lost in the minutia of the business, that has 8 business cards for all the businesses that you never started, right? I'm talking to you. If you listen to this, you know exactly who you are, right? No, don't use AI for the same thing. So it's very dependent on who you are. So short answer to a long answer.
You want to know some things that I've leveraged to help me in my daily life outside of business?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I would love that.
So here's one thing I don't know. And I don't know on the spectrum where I am as medium, beginner, advanced AI guy, but there's
Yeah,
definitely, like you said, I mean, you should be utilizing it, right? And it's not
100%.
going anywhere. It's not going anywhere, right? So
Mm-hmm.
here's my 2 favorite cases. I've used it for a lot of different things. And shout out to my business partners, Scriven and Rashmi. They kind of got me on this. But anyways,
Rashmi was exactly what I was talking about. That's
oh, that's funny.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was like, and it's funny. It's the way the universe works. Really funny too, because I was talking to her about an hour before this call. I didn't even tell her. I guess she can see my calendar, but I didn't tell her that we were doing a podcast. And she was like, "Hey, let's schedule some time, you and me, if you want to do some mindset work, and we'll work together and stuff because we're partners in the same business, right?" And it's just funny that she brought that up an hour before this call, and then this call ends up being the whole thing talking about
That's
mindset,
hilarious.
and
Yeah.
it goes back to your point of like, hey, the universe is working this way, right? So
Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna
anyways,
take a picture of you now and send it to her.
yeah, did you do it?
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. Oh, it's hilarious.
Just say Austin's ready for his mindset call, or just say no, he already found somebody else for his mindset call. There you go. But no, so here's how I'm using it. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. All right, so um started one chat GPT channel for my wife and I, obviously the memory plan where you can store stuff. So we took love language test. I took one, she took one. Personality test. I took one, she took one. Maybe this is very basic stuff. Logged it, saved it for her, saved it for me. And anytime, like, not that we fight all the time or anything like that, but if there is a dispute or there's something that, maybe we aren't on the same page with, I throw it in there and I say, this is what happened. Can you break it down from a psychological perspective? And it's like, hey, based on the way she's wired and her love language, and you're wired and your love language, this is how she thinks, this is how you think. And we just put a problem in there. And I can't remember what the problem was. It was just probably one of those, small, stupid arguments or whatever. So she reads it, I read it, she understands me, I understand her. Life goes on, but it's basically how ChatGPT broke it down from a psychological perspective, went even deeper, and in my opinion, did it better than any psychologist out there could have possibly done it, because they're implementing the thought into it to try and solve the problem, where this thing is just like spitting it out. So that's case scenario. number one. Here's the next one that I'm working on that I'm really excited for. So it hasn't done yet. I don't want to overhype it, but what I did was I started a conversation and I basically said, hey, help me. I want to feel optimized. I want to be at 100%. I want to you to be able to identify any maybe lingering diseases or anything like that. So help me schedule some blood work. So it says where I live. It knows where I live. So it starts scheduling everything. I said, I need you to find me and help me schedule a blood test. I said, this one, it's $1,000. I said, no, my budget's 500. Okay, my budget's 500. This test is 95% of what the other one was. I said, is there any discount code? Discount code, 20% off, whatever. So it's doing all this thing. And I schedule the appointment. So long story short, I've gotten my blood work done. It's just not finished. They're not finished with it yet. So what I'm doing is kind of putting it in there, and it's going to read it like a doctor would. But it's kind of like what those concierge doctors do, but this is kind of a hack and shortcut, so I don't have to necessarily have that incoming expense of visiting them all the time. So it has this very extensive blood test that's not like the blood test that you get from your typical physical, which they do like 20 panels or whatever. This is 120 plus biomarkers,
Do
and
you
I'm
do
going to put it.
function?
Say it again.
Did you do function?
I don't know what do you mean.
Like, is that the name of the company?
No, no. The lab is just like Ulta Labs, right? Like, and then you just go to like a blood draw place, and they set it up for me. So, anyways, I can tell you offline all about that. So I'm going to drop it in there. My focuses are on longevity, any biomarkers that can, highlight potential for disease. Like my thing is like, okay, if I can identify something in my blood work that might be a red flag, versus in 10 years I start peeing blood and I could have identified that perhaps a decade before. So that longevity, disease, and a lot of people, they make a mistake. Like they take vitamin D supplements because they just heard it on a podcast. Like, what if you're proficient? What if you have enough vitamin D, right? Like, why are you taking that? So
Mm-hmm.
it will analyze all that stuff and basically say, hey, in your diet, you're eating maybe too much of this food, and you're actually deficient here. If you want to, optimize, feel more like 100%, there's a sleep component of it too. Anyways, I opened up a huge can of worms, but that's one thing that I'm really excited about because um, I don't know. My hopes are kind of high, but I'm going to drop the blood work in there, and I think it's going to spit out a plan. It's like, are there any peptides that I could benefit from? Are there any, what can I adjust in my diet because, whatever. And there's like a sleep component of it too that I can, put the sleep study in there. Anyways, that's how I'm using it. I think it's pretty cool
Oh,
stuff.
yeah. No, I love it. So some of the stuff I heard from Rashmi before in the past, I use it a lot for my workout. So it schedules all my things and knows all the stuff that I do. So again, I think when it comes to mindset, AI is great and useful. And also, because a lot of it is in understanding who you are or who you told yourself that you are. And so until you understand that, the awarenesses are only so limited. So it's great to probe, but then at the same time, there's going to be an element of like journaling and understanding and studying and learning that has to be yours, that you get to draw out yourself from yourself. Because you can't hack that. Like, the chat is not going to know what are the stories that you told yourself when you were growing up about who you are and what you think is possible for yourself. It's just not one of the capabilities that chat has.
It's just a tool, right? That's really what it is. Because at the end of the day, you still, the more that you use the tool, the better that it'll work for you. But you can't just go in and say, ChatGPT is going to solve all my problems. I mean, even like these great softwares like HostBuddy AI that message guests for you, that they're great, right? But at the same time, you still have to feed it SOPs. You have to tell it how to communicate with the properties. You have to communicate. You have to use it as a tool, right? So it's not like it can just do everything for you, but it's how good can you feed it? How good can you set up that prompt, give it the job and put it to work? Then you go.
100%. And same thing for mindset, right? It's the same exact thing.
Awesome, man. Well, was there anything else you wanted to cover on here or anything you wanted to talk about that we didn't get to?
No, I mean, if your listeners want to reach out, talk about mindset, you can reach me on Instagram, epani.realestate. I do one-on-one coaching. I do mindset group coaching through STR Secrets, through Limitless and Quantum. And then if you are in the STR space and you're looking for support in terms of growing your co-hosting business or your management business, just come and reach out to me. We'll jump on a call because we can help you both on the professional side of your STR journey and on your personal side, right? And we're here for both. So however we can serve and help you, or if you just want to have a conversation, you can just reach out to me on Instagram and I'll make sure to get a schedule.
Yeah, and I am not personally a part of the STR Secrets Mastermind, but what I can vouch for is the amount of people in my network that have gone through there, and it's kind of on the individual to take action and do the work. But man, have I seen some people come through there and kick some ass. You guys do a really good job. A lot of my friends have gone through there, and it's just like a year will go by. I'll check back in. I'll be like, holy shit, you were not doing any of this a year ago. And it comes down to the individual at the end of the day. They did the work, but you guys provided the resources, the blueprint, the coaching. Like, I feel like I love what you guys are doing, even though I've just seen it happen with other people. I'm not personally a byproduct of it, but yeah, if you guys are interested in growing and scaling, man, get tapped in with STR Secrets. Those guys, they know what they're doing and they got the mindset dialed in.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that. And yeah, dude, we're on a mission, so we take that very seriously. And again, like you said, right? We don't do it for people. People do it for themselves. And we just create the right environment, the right community. We give you the right framework and we hold you accountable in a community of people that are like you, right? Like a community that supports, encourages, and challenges you, where people have kids and families and are trying to quit their W-2, and they do. And you see it happen over and over again. And we give you the support and all the tools that we've used over the years to get it done.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Well, thanks, E. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for sharing the mindset
My
component
pleasure.
of it. This is our first mindset episode, so I think you're our mindset guy. So awesome, man. I appreciate
I
you,
appreciate
and
that.
thank y'all for listening. Peace.
Ciao, guys.